to release the Epstein Files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter.
I love to start your day with a laugh and a smile. Good morning, pineapples. Looking very good and very nice. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. God bless him. Insubordinate. Get in the kitchen. Right. Drew Van Runkle. Hey, it's the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. You're part of the show when you're in the chat, like Marie 100, Drew Van Runkle, Saint Selma, Barney Styles, JJ 4884, Joni Rankin, Quest Fanning, Thormock. You're all part of a community. We're pineapples, but not like that. We all are just a little prickly on the outside, but sweet on the inside. It's the Wake Up America show. Don't forget to click the like button. I just love hanging out with you guys in the morning. Booty sweat. How could you not love a little booty sweat? Well, Piggy, Ashley Ann, 8. And we thought Peggy was bad. Quiet, Piggy. Happy hump day, my little hogs. Good morning, friends, patriots, citizens of the Republic. All of you watching from the free territory of the internet, the freest territory in Jefferson City, where it's 45 degrees Fahrenheit if you're live. It's a beautiful day to be alive in the United States. The government may not know what a woman is, but this morning it definitely knows what a wetland is. What is a wetland? That's what she said. We're coming in hot today. That's what she said. Washington, Disney, the House of Representatives all somehow managed to show signs of human intelligence in the same 48-hour period. I don't know what alignment of the stars made this possible. Maybe it was the Aurora Borealis over the Midwest. Maybe Ron Paul whispered into the cosmic void, the happening, it must happen. But we're going to ride this momentum for as long as it lasts. So we're going to start today where the swamp meets reality. The EPA has finally admitted that the federal government cannot regulate every puddle, frog ditch, and mosquito swamp in America. They propose rolling back the definition of the waters of the United States. Oh my God bless America. For the waters of the United States. Yeah, I was going to wear my Eton Bush 69 hat, Drew Van Runkle, today, but my hair just looked so luscious. I had to I didn't want to put anything on top of this beautiful mop. I'm 44 years old. Look at all that hair. It's starting to look like, the Donald Trump fluffy on top, but at least I got it. I know guys that lost their hair at 19 years old. It's a great day to be American upon a burning nation. Upon a burning nation. Today we shall not burn. For I have good news for you. That's why you watch the Wake Up America show. The EPA has finally admitted the federal government cannot regulate every single drop of water on our lands. And real people, real Americans have been crushed under this rule, under the boots of bureaucrats. Have you ever heard of the Sackett family? They were threatened with $40,000 a day in fines because their yard might someday maybe reflect a cloud after a heavy rainfall. John Duarte was fined millions for plowing a field. The Hawks Company in Minnesota was told their land was connected to navigable waters 120 miles away. Yeah. No. Your land might be connected to navigable water 120 miles from your house. Right? But this is the kind of power that Washington loves. Right? The unearned, unaccountable, enforced by people who've never built anything but a career for themselves. So today we're going to dig into this potential wetlands rollback, what it means, what it fixes, and what dangers might still remain, even if much of it gets overturned. Because deregulation is a victory if it stays consistent. If the next White House comes in and overturns this rule, and the next EPA administration comes in and overturns it, then we're back to square one. So if we free the land, but we lose the voice, or free the voice, but keep the land in chains, liberty's still a cage. They just move the bars. And speaking of cages, Disney, something huge happened. For the first time since 2019, Disney's official corporate filings, the 10K, the annual, this is a giant annual, what the hell kind of word is that? We're making up words here today. The giant annual report that the Securities and Exchange Commission requires from such a massive corporation like Disney. They dropped the terms diversity, DEI, and D&I, completely gone, vanished like a Lucasfilm writer after a box office bomb. They replaced the language with softer corporate puffery like belonging, which is what HR says when they're trying to brainwash you with cupcakes or a pizza party instead of an annual bonus. So this is the same company that spent years, they have been armed to the teeth in the culture wars, firing right as hard as they can, injecting quota politics into every script, gay kisses in Buzz Lightyear, every character, every meeting, the message. The company that held mandatory struggle sessions about white privilege while telling Americans that heroic archetypes, like the ones they had promoted for years, were suddenly problematic. Now, suddenly, as of this week, silence. No DEI, no equity office jargon, just cold financial equity, the kind that actually exists. Corporate America is retreating. It's not just Disney, and it's not because they found religion, because the religion stopped selling tickets. When you burn your intellectual property to teach a lesson in sociology, eventually the audience walks away. So we're going to unpack this morning. What's performative? What's real, and what it means that the most powerful entertainment company on earth is quietly slipping out the back door of the woke temple. So that is going to be your second segment this morning, and I promise it's going to be a ride. Also, I'm going to sneak in a story if I have time. I wrote an extra little, I won't say it's bonus content because the bonus content is the bonus content, but it is, you might call it something of a surprise segment if I have time to get to it, between Disney and between Kurt Schlichter, who we have coming on, and the Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff. We'll get to that in just a moment. But just FYI, I did see Andy Opperman donated $10, says, let's get the bonus train rolling, which we should definitely do. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but since I already teased it out. So 427 members of Congress voted yes to release every remaining file tied to Jeffrey Epstein. And one Republican, voted no. And his name was Congressman Clay Higgins. And unlike the other kind of professional clowns in the House, Higgins didn't hide why he did this, right? He explained exactly why. And I was fascinated with this. Everybody was throwing poo at him. Kevin Sorbo was, insinuating, people immediately accusing him of being a pedophile. This is why I hate this Jeffrey Epstein story at this point. Everybody just accuses everybody of being a pedophile. I saw a thread yesterday where everybody was accusing everyone else of being a pedophile because they didn't support the exact tactical move that they had made in regards to Jeffrey Epstein. And it's just like, shut the hell up. You're all idiots and assholes. So normally, the people on my side of the aisle, the big Thomas Massie people, are always like, oh, he voted alone. He was the lone no vote. What a heroic stand. But now that it's Thomas Massie's time to pass a bill and legislation, all of a sudden, well, wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. What did this guy, Clay Higgins, is he a pedophile? Boy, we'd find out pretty damn quick. Wouldn't that be kind of like, blowing yourself up if you were a pedo, that you were the one guy who voted against it? I wonder if they're going to do some scrutiny. Yeah, he thought to himself, I better write down the reasons why I'm voting against this bill. And you know what? It sounds like he sounds kind of Thomas Massie-ish, the way he explained it. I want to know, who was the lone no vote? Who was Dr. No or Mr. No on the floor of the House of Representatives? So I'm APs for defending pedos. Exactly. I've been accused of that for asking questions. You know who you're not allowed to ask questions of? And that's why I love Donald Trump when he rips into these reporters. You're not allowed to ask questions of people who are the ones who are asking questions. I'm asking the questions here, right? I mean, like the chemtrail juice, the anti-vax, the 9/11, Building 7, WTC, what happened? George Bush, man, we got to free Palestine. The leftards, the Zenification, the people who, the Maha crunchy moms that came from the Democratic Party now tell us we shouldn't have free markets, so we have to ban every food dye into the sun. You're not allowed to ask questions of the people who are just asking questions. Has anybody noticed that? is quite mysterious. So let's ask questions about the people who are asking questions. Congressman Clay Higgins voted against Thomas Massie's bill in the House of Representatives, and honestly, a pretty principled stand. I'm going to tell you about it. It's going to make you uncomfortable, but it's worth examining. And if you thought you wanted, if you want to be comfortable, then you need to start a podcast and wear your pajamas instead of the shirt that you have that looks almost exactly like that, instead of the pajama version of it. So you get to see my chest hair today. Whatever. It's a morning show. I work from home. I want to wear pajamas. What are you going to do about it? You go to the For Liberty shop and buy something like Thomas's painkiller coffee, like Joni Rankin this morning. Good to see you, Joni. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, and thank you so much for your patronage. We've raised $34 towards that $100 bonus content goal. If we hit 100, it's the mini doc. If we hit 150, it's the great grift off. If we hit 250, then just be prepared for me to hark the herald angels sing a Christmas song for you this morning in my pajamas, no less. All right, so Congressman Clay Higgins, he warned that the bill could expose thousands of innocent people. No shit, right? Witnesses, employees, family members, anyone whose name ended up on FBI paperwork but had nothing to do with the crimes. He said the bill abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure and risks unleashing a rabid media on people who never set foot on the island. And whether you agree with him or not, you know what that is? That's a principled stand. Rare, uncomfortable, and worth examining. And we're going to break it down in B1, what the bill actually does, why the lone no vote matters, and what transparency looks like when the government finally opens the vault. So at 8:30 a.m., boys and girls, you better have your butt hurt cream this morning to deal with your butt hurt, because the topical lotion, I hope it's got some hydrocortisone in it, because this one's going to hurt. Kurt Schlichter's going to grab a flamethrower and he's going to call out Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene. He calls them narcissists, saboteurs, and dead weight inside the Republican Party. Now, I know what you're saying. I know we're all Thomas Massie fans over here and some Marjorie Taylor Greene fans. But guess what? We're going to hear from people who disagree with us. We're going to have to listen. This is America. This is the real world. You're going to have to listen to people who disagree with you every once in a while. If you want to live in a free country, you have to hear those painful things, right? Because maybe everything that Kurt Schlichter says today isn't legit. Maybe we're going to argue about certain things. He's been calling out libertarians. It's got me like going, what? You want to go, Kurt Schlichter? So maybe we'll have a little debate later today and it'll be fun. We'll disagree on things, but it'll be fun. We're friends. Kurt Schlichter and I, we debate. He makes fun of libertarians, and I make fun of him. So what do you say? You want to have a good show today? You want to join me and Kurt Schlichter at 8:30 a.m. Central where we debate Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene? He's going to call them assholes and I'm going to be like, you're the asshole. But you might be right. I don't know. I don't know if you got the guts. I hope I'll see you there at 8:30 a.m. Central Time this morning. I love that when I see people's names over in the chat, they've all pretty much got the little red castle next to their name. It's a beautiful thing. Because when you guys are monthly subscribers like that, someone else might have bought your subscription, but what that means is great. You're able to watch our members only content and hang out with us on Friday night. If you have been missing out on the Freedom Arcade Friday night hangout shows, the exclusive members only shows we've been doing, you've been missing out on a lot of fun. Like, we have way more fun than adults, really, especially a middle-aged adult like myself. We have way more fun on Friday nights here than we have any business having. So if you are on a Friday night and you're hanging out at home, say maybe you get a little free time to yourself, the kids are doing something or whatever, and you want to hang out with us on Friday nights and play some games, we have an absolute blast. Like Ashley Ann, she's here in the chat. Tell everybody about the Freedom Arcade because we have a blast, but you have to be a member. So if you see that red castle next to your name, then that means that you guys are welcome to join us on Friday nights. You can get past the paywall and you're welcome to join. Say thank you to whoever bought your sub, but if you bought it for yourself, thank you. So let's gift some subscriptions this morning, guys. That's a great way to unlock bonus content and to help other people be able to get into our community a little bit more deeply. So you can buy one for someone. You can also buy 5, 10, 15. Just click that little cash button that you see down there and support the Wake Up America show. It's the holidays. But my recommendation to you, friends, is that you visit the Grift Shop because, listen, holiday deadlines, shipping deadlines are approaching faster than you think. And Amy J.E.'s Beasley yesterday was talking about her beautiful Don't Tread on Me embroidered sweater that she got. I just want to show it. Can I show it for a quick second? She hasn't sent us our picture yet, but she said she's going to give us a nice review. Is it Join or Die or is it Unite or Die? Join or Die. There we go. Join or Die. Here we go. Embroidered sweater. This is the kind of like nice gift that you get on Christmas morning. Join or Die, beautiful sweater. Benjamin Franklin designed it, and it's embroidered, so it's super high quality. And remember that price includes shipping, but here's the deal, guys. You need to do the buy two, get 15. I need to put this on the page, but buy two, get 15. Brad, we're working so hard to upgrade the website for you guys. We have a sale going on right now that you buy two, anything in the shop or more, and you get 15% off if you use that code, buy two, get 15. We've got so many awesome new products. If you're into Japanese culture, I made some shirts and shoes for the new Japanese Prime Minister, the Iron Lady of Japan. She's awesome. We have the Comeback with a Warrant, and guys, we've really been upgrading the quality of our products as well. So we're squeezing our margins, so we're making a little bit less, but we're making much higher quality products for you guys as much as we can. So don't forget, we have a buy two, save 15%. Buy two, save 15 on anything in the store. If you're buying more than one box of coffee, then you're going to get automatic savings that are going to stack up. So if you go to like buy a box of Martha's Mint, for example, let's say you threw all of these into your cart. Let's say we added all 8 items to our cart. Well, the automatic discount is going to kick in for you guys on this. And see that right there? You're going to get that automatic $12 off because you bought more than I think it's 4 boxes of coffee. And then let's say you got the Red Cup travel day, you go put something else in your cart and you use that code, toss that in there, and you're going to get savings on top of that. So we're really looking for ways to save you guys money so you can get more of our awesome merch. We want to get it in your hands. Another great way to do so is through the Great Grift Off Liberty Loot live game. Look at that beautiful embroidered Appeal to Heaven hat. I love it. Thanks so much for supporting the Wake Up America show financially and otherwise, guys. Don't forget to click the like button if you haven't already, and send us a text at any time if you have a question about the show, you want to drop a comment, or you just have a question about your order. That phone line that you see on the screen is your direct line to us. Don't call that number, though. We won't be able to answer it. It doesn't ring our phones. It's just a text line, 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. We'd love to have you be a regular guest. Joni Rankin says she had a compliment on her Comeback with a Warrant doormat. See? We've got the coolest stuff. So check it out, forlibertyshop.com. Do some shopping while you're listening to the show. All right, folks, gather around the big story here today. Today's one of the rare mornings where the federal government actually did something, or is going to do something that resembles sanity. And I was as shocked as you are. I had to check the calendar. Christmas coming, April Fool's Day, right? But the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers have proposed a new wetlands rule. Let's break this down. Here's the story. For 50 years, the federal government has treated American landowners the way a medieval king treated peasants. You work the land, you pay the taxes. The king keeps the right to seize whatever he wants. And that has been the relationship between the EPA and the American people. It's a relationship that's built on fear, confusion, and threats. The threat of financial ruin at any time if the Environmental Protection Act, if the EPA wants to step in and destroy a farmer's life, they can do it. They can find a way through bureaucratic rules and regulations that they wrote themselves, not through laws of Congress, but through bureaucratic rules. They can destroy people's lives. If you own land, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. The government made the term waters of the United States so vague that even hydrologists, yes, this is a thing, hydrologists, they disagreed on what counted as, quote, waters of the United States. A ditch after a rainstorm, a low spot in your yard, a cattle wallow, a seasonal pool. Right? If it collected water, then the EPA claimed it. And they have used that power for the last 30 years like a bludgeon. The Sackett family lived through this nightmare firsthand. They bought a modest piece of land in Idaho. They built a starter home. It wasn't fancy, just a home for themselves, the American dream. Then they put down a little gravel and suddenly the EPA descended on them like they were running a chemical plant. No water, no standing pond, no stream, nothing. But the EPA declared that it was a wetland and threatened them with $40,000 a day in fines. $40,000 a day, right? The entire equivalent of a lot of people's salaries, right? They could have burned money in a barrel faster than the fines stacked up. 16 years is how long this act gets fought. 16 years in court, 16 years of stress, lawyers' fees, debt, the threat of government punishment for the crime of wanting to build a home. It was the EPA. It took a Supreme Court case in 2023 to finally stop the feds from ruining these people. And do you know what the Supreme Court said? They said the obvious. If there is no visible water, then it is not a wetland. Oh. Can you imagine the bureaucracy that needed 9 judges in black robes to explain the difference between a yard and a pond? You needed 9 judges to make that determination. This is the level of absurdity that we've reached, right? Then there was the Duarte nursery case. If you want a perfect portrait of regulatory insanity, this is it. John Duarte, he's a farmer in California. He plowed his field, and he the same way that farmers have plowed fields since the first caveman learned to drag a stick in the dirt. But the EPA claimed that the furrows created by his tractor, the furrows that we have been creating since agriculture began, these furrows were pollutant discharges into waters of the United States. What were the waters? Seasonal puddles from rain, temporary depressions in the land, nothing more. He was hammered with millions in fines, millions for farming. And these are the people who claim to care about food security. They crushed an American farmer because his tractor offended them. Or look at the Hawks Company in Minnesota. They run a peat mining business. The EPA declared that their land was a wetland because of connectivity to a navigable waterway. And it sounds serious until you realize that the navigable waterway was 120 miles away. You could walk to Mordor and back faster than water could travel from that land to the river. The Army Corps of Engineers kept shifting this definition until Hawks had no idea of what standard they were supposed to meet. And then another Supreme Court case and another slap from the justices, another reminder that the federal bureaucracy in this country is drunk on its own power.
Sense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
And who could forget, or maybe you never even heard of this New York couple who bought a nice piece of land to build their dream home. The government ran a vegetation survey and declared their yard a wetland because some plants, quote, resembled wetland growth. Not because the land was wet, not because water was present, but because the plants looked suspiciously moist. This is like planetary scale gaslighting. All right. So when the EPA announced a new proposed rule last week saying that they want to limit the Clean Water Act to, quote, relatively permanent, standing, or continuously flowing bodies of water and wetlands that directly touch those waters, this is not a minor tweak. This is a seismic shift for us, right? To rein in these rules. AP, I live in Ohio. Sometimes my front yard is a pond. Well, brother, sorry, but it is now a wetland. We declare it to be a wetland. Moist motherfucking plants. That land looks like it identifies as wetland. See, it's trans land. Translandia. We'll get to the Disney story in just a minute, guys. I love the chat. You guys are so much fun. Upon a Burning Nation. I hope that are you new Upon a Burning Nation? I don't recognize the screen name. I love seeing regulars, of course, like John and Casey and Grizz Cheese as well, guys. Good morning. Nice to see you. Steph793 says, I thought it was done in Trump's first term. It's not final yet, right? The government that can register your puddle can regulate your business. The question is not whether wetlands matter. Of course they matter. Flood mitigation does matter. Water quality does matter. You can't pour battery acid into a river. Ecological balance does matter, but you can't protect the environment by destroying people who live in it. You can't preserve nature by punishing the farmers and homeowners who depend on it. You need balance, you need clarity, you need limits on the state. So there it is. This is the Wake Up America show. Let's keep going, guys. Click that like button if you haven't already. Hope that you guys are clicking the like button. And if today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show, you click the follow button as well. And come back and become a regular guest to the Wake Up America show. If it's your first time watching the Wake Up America show, then make sure that you click that follow button so you can come back and join us. Not done yet from 10 years ago. Got it. Steph 793. Yeah, they still got to, they have to codify it, right? They've got to get it into law because right now, if they don't get it into law, then President Trump doesn't sign it, then it can be overturned. So the idea is that they need to take that rule that they have and they need to make it not a rule. They need to make it a law. So, and they think that there is a chance that they'll be able to get that to pass as well. So it was an Obama era thing, water thing with puddles. Yeah, it's been going for like 30 years. This waters of the United States, navigable waters of the United States. Obama was using it like crazy to crack down on a lot of these farmers. It was a big Obama era thing that the EPA was just tyrannical and hostile. So that's why I don't buy into a lot of the Obama revisionism that people are trying to do. Oh, look, compare him to Donald Trump. And it's like Obama was a dictator. I remember when I was working at the Libertarian Party in 2008, my first job in politics. I'm at the Watergate Hotel. Yes, that Watergate Hotel in Washington, D.C. And Obama had just won, and they were having the inauguration. And I'll never forget, a college professor brought his students to come to the inauguration because they were all starry-eyed for Obama. And here's me at the Libertarian National Committee, and I thought that they were there to actually learn about libertarianism and what libertarians believed. But what it turns out, it was actually a hit job by the professor. He wanted to bring his liberal college students in and indoctrinate them and to attack libertarians because he didn't want them getting any ideas that libertarians were good people. So it's me and what ended up being now my best friend for life, Mark. He was my intern then. We ended up, and we screwed up. This was my bad. I should have seen the hit job coming a mile away, but I was a young, late 20s political activist. Here I am, mid 40s. And so my stupid goes and makes a copy of the Road to Serfdom in cartoons. Have you guys ever seen the Road to Serfdom in cartoons? They have a cartoon version. So they thought I was insulting their intelligence. Well, I was, but I didn't act like I was insulting their intelligence. I just thought, hey, this is, I've only got an hour with these students. Let's read to them from Road to Serfdom in cartoons. And I kind of just sort of didn't expect how they would react to the end. If you've never read The Road to Serfdom, spoiler alert, here we go. At the end of The Road to Serfdom, after the state has planned your wetlands, planned your education, planned your exercise, planned your routine, planned your career, planned everything for you, at the end, the government plans your execution. And I will never forget, I got done reading The Road to Serfdom and cartoons to this liberal kids, and they had already been planted with the seeds of like liberal anger to get ready to ask us questions. And I finished The Road to Serfdom in cartoons, and like they're all looking at the handouts that I have, and there's a picture of the guy who just got executed by firing squad. And mind you, they are all there to like worship Obama. It's one of the greatest days ever for democracy. They're all thrilled. They're ready to like kumbaya and like light incense and play drums. And my ass brings them down to earth and says, so I'll never forget this. They finished The Road to Serfdom, and it's the guy's dead. He's been shot by a firing squad. The state plans your execution, everybody looks up, and I look up, and I hadn't been paying attention to their facial expressions like I should have been because it wasn't good. I looked up, and they were just like looking at me like this, and then it was like a bunch of like angry lionesses jumping on the meat. They're like, "Rah! Don't you think prostitution should be legal? But isn't prostitution slavery? It's a slavery." And I was like, this was woke, guys. This was woke when it was like starting. They were awakening. And I will never forget, like, I kept my cool. They were asking all the stupid leftist Marxist questions about libertarianism and stuff like that. And I was batting them down the best I could. I was still a young buck, right? I mean, I don't think I had read some, like I wasn't as sort of like skilled in the ways of the force as I am now. But I held my own with this whole and the professor was like ginning them on, tell them like, ask this, ask that, right? To try and destroy any hopes that they had in libertarianism. And I will never forget the first question that the woman asked was, this young woman asked was, so you think Obama is going to become a dictator? And I said, yes. Oh my God. I will. And then Mark, poor Mark, you guys have been in the trenches for a long time, guys. Thank you, Entropy Nomad. I will never forget, Mark stands up and he is so nervous. He's like, guys, I know that this liberty stuff, it sounds a little crazy, but I promise it works. It does. We still laugh about it to this day. You know your boy AP's been in the trenches for a long time, so I appreciate it when somebody drops a tenner in like Entropy. What's up, bud? Thank you. Angry leftists attacking us. We're well on the way to unlock that bonus content. If everybody was as generous as Entropy Nomad, boy, the world would be a better place. Thank you to everyone who has been financially supporting us this morning. I know we're going to hit that $100 level and see today's bonus content. All right, let's hit the big story. Let's talk about the wetlands to the wasteland, the ideological wasteland. Place that once produced joy, hope, dreams, and storytelling excellence before it was conquered by consultants and PowerPoint priests. We're talking about Disney today. And something happened over at Disney's this week that's sending ripples across the entire entertainment world. It was quiet. It was subtle. It was almost sneaky, but it was big, maybe historic. For the first time since 2019, Disney's official annual report to the SEC, the 10K filing, which is one of the biggest reports that major corporations have to file to the government. They completely removed words of diversity, equity, and inclusion. D and I gone. Vaporized. Not a single reference in the entire document. Now, for years, these reports were packed with DEI terminology. They referenced diversity goals. They referenced inclusion targets. They referenced company-wide initiatives like Reimagine Tomorrow. They bragged about workforce targets and diversity pipelines that they had set up. It was a corporate sermon in the past, but now it's gone. And this is not speculation, confirmed by Business Insider, Fox Business, and analysts who comb through corporate filings for a living. These filings are public. Anybody can check this. The term DEI appears 0 times in Disney's 2025 10K. 0. Now, I know what you're going to say. They probably just switched terminology, right? Maybe they just use different language. And that is partially true. They still use the word equity about 130 times in the report. But every single instance of equity is referred to from financial equity, shareholder equity, and capital structure. So not the same thing. Not social equity, not racial equity, not ideological equity. It's all about money. So that one is fascinating because for the last few years, Disney made social equity the centerpiece of every major announcement. They had a chief diversity officer. They had a global DEI team. They launched the Reimagine Tomorrow initiative with splashy videos about dismantling systemic bias. And then they started removing DEI from the recruitment pages. That shows you the cultural power that the right has in this moment. They've stopped referencing Reimagine Tomorrow in corporate earnings calls. Then the executives who championed DEI began leaving the company, or they have been starting to transfer to more ambiguous new roles. And now this entire concept is absent from the key financial document that defines the company's direction. So I want to walk with you guys through this and talk about why this matters. Because it does matter. It's an important story because the woke mind virus, we have started to find a cure for it. We started to find a cure for the woke mind virus. And as you can see, the virus is beginning to leave the patient. Thank you to our friends who have been shopping at the Grift Shop this morning. We might have just unlocked the bonus content. Thanks to people like yourself and your generosity. We are so grateful to everyone who stepped in this morning. Looks like we unlocked phase 1 and maybe even phase 2. Wow. That'd be crazy. Did we really, Brad? You're going to have to check that for us, buddy. Looks like the people are going shopping at the Grift Shop. Thank you for buying coffee and tea. You're going to love the tea. Don't sleep on the tea, guys. The 4 Liber tea is stinking delicious. Iger's been such a clown, not even ambitious like Eisner. Booty Sweat 1. Yeah, I remember Michael Eisner days. It really felt like Disney was in its peak in the late 1980s and 1990s, something of a golden age. Now I really have to question before I let our daughter watch certain Disney shows. We have to have conversations all the time about what sort of entertainment content we let our daughter watch. And to be honest, she's not really interested in anything but Hawaiian reggae cats. She likes the Hawaii reggae cats. And you know what I was thinking about? It's AI slop. And you might say, oh, well, don't let your child watch AI slop. But it's literally like we find ourselves bouncing along to the reggae cats ourselves. Is the AI bad? Yeah, it's worse than the kind of AI that I work on, and people call my stuff AI slop, which I think is, unfair. But we don't let her watch a lot of stuff, and she doesn't care about watching it. Okay, shut up. All right, we just put on a little. Oh, what's the way? Tides of Love. This one is my favorite one. Here we go. In this ocean breeze, we embrace tides of love. They sweep me away with every wave. I want to stay. Now, we put that on, and that baby booty just starts a bouncing. It's just like. And how could I not enjoy that? For just $2 a day, John and Casey. Right, exactly. I'm just a Jew, a lonely Jew on Christmas. So what do you let your kids watch? Disney? I don't think so. Garfield living his best life, says Booty Sweat. Absolutely. So we're talking about Disney in this 10K filing that had reference from 2020 to 2023. They referenced DEI repeatedly. They talked about diversity benchmarks, inclusive storytelling priorities. They talked about representation in film and in media. They talked about diversity training for employees. They talked about equity commitments. And all of that coincided with a measurable collapse in the quality of their content. I hear they're making the original Moana again, but a live action version of Moana. But the only thing is that they have to use so much CGI to make the movie that it's basically just another animated movie again. Yeah, I watch Critical Drinker to get my movie takes. Oh, we've unlocked the bonus content. That's fantastic. You guys are freaking amazing. All we need is another $20 to hit the great grift off. We'll play a game at the end of the show and everybody can play. That'll be fun. And then if we hit $200 today, guys, and I think we can do it, that's almost $75 or so. Then once we hit that bonus content level, then I will sing a song for you today. Not Tides of Love, but I will sing a Christmas song or whichever one that I can find. L-Dubs, where you been, brother? Man, we missed you. Everybody give L-Dubs a shout out in the chat. So, a Reuters analysis this summer showed a 30% drop in public confidence in Disney. Since 2019, consumer sentiment data shows family trust levels at their lowest point in 3 decades. So there's a reason Disney lost between $100 and $500 million on multiple major film releases in the last 2 years. The audience stopped believing that the company was interested in storytelling. They believed that the audience was interested in activism. They were wrong, weren't they? Jackie Macaron 29. What's up, Jackie? Jackie Brown. Welcome to the show. L-Dubs has been traveling, so he couldn't chat, but I would lurk. Well, we want you to know, L-Dubs, we've been missing you, brother. So we hope that you'll come back and join us more often. And a pleasure to meet our new friend, Jackie McCarran, 29, with her little dancing banana. Good to see you. Hope you'll become a regular guest. So imagine being an investor who wants return on their capital. You invested in Disney. You thought you were going to get money and mice. Instead, you got a 30% drop in public confidence. Hundreds to $500 million worth of losses on major releases. If you were a shareholder who owned a portion of Disney and their stock, wouldn't you start to freak out and panic? And that's what this is about, right? Your company is lecturing people about theoretical equity instead of delivering financial equity, which is their job. So Disney is now quietly backing out the side door of the DEI chapel and trying to pretend that nothing happened. The Disney spokesperson response to this story was almost comical. They said, "Oh, yuck, our goals have not changed. We remain committed to belonging and inclusion. Yuck, 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 yuck." Who's their spokesperson? So this is the new phrase, right? Belonging. C-O-D-O, day-o. C-O-day here, we won, good morning. Day. Me say C-O-day-o. Daylight come and me one go home. So here's where this story gets. If you thought the story was not going to be more interesting, you were wrong, Richard Bell. This story is going to get much more interesting. Disney is not the only company doing this. A study by Gravity Research found that a 98% drop in DEI references across Fortune 100 companies happened from January 2023 to 2025. The virus is retreating. So a survey from the Wall Street Journal that I pulled found nearly 2/3 of major corporations have scaled back DEI programs in the last year. Major firms like Google, Meta, JP Morgan, and Amazon have dissolved or merged their DEI departments. Tech companies, media companies, even financial firms are in retreat. And a lot of this stuff has been pushed by the financial community. A lot of this stuff woke leftist crap has been backed by big financial firms, big banks, corporations like BlackRock and others. Remember when they said they were going to force behaviors? I certainly did. And so now that the banks are actually starting to retreat from some of this stuff, which of course everybody listens to the banks. People are supposed to be listening to their churches, so their moral betters in their communities. But what we all really listen to, sadly and unfortunately, are our banks. When the bank says something, we do it. And why are they doing this? They're doing it because they're losing money, because the leftist woke ideology does not work. It doesn't produce the kind of excellence that is necessary to create a work of art that is so compelling that it requires you to view it, right? DEI does not improve performance. It doesn't build cohesion amongst teams, and it doesn't ultimately create profit, the only equity that matters to many of these people. DEI is the only corporate program in history where the more money that corporations put into it, the more resentment and division that it created. You cannot tell people to see the world through the lens of resentment and expect harmony. You cannot tell creators who are just trying to write great films to check a list of identities before writing a character and expect that you're going to get good storytelling that way. You cannot tell employees they are defined by a group membership and expect a unified workforce. Artistry can be an extremely collaborative tool, but it starts with the artist. It starts with the individual artist who may or may not identify. There have been so many great works of art that have probably been suppressed in the last 5 to 7 years simply because they did not meet some ideological diversity quota. We hear about it all the time. Put a woman in it and make it gay, as Carbon said. That was great, AP. Thank you, CO Day. CO Day and Nelson, we got to get that little red castle next to your name, guys. Can we do it? Can we get somebody to gift some subscriptions, guys? Let's do it. Nelson 65 and CO Day need the castles next to their names, like Entropy Nomad. How can we get castles next to their names? Well, they can either buy themselves a subscription to the show, or Nelson 65 could buy, if he wanted to, a gift of 5, and it would give them out randomly to 5 people in the chat. And my guess is that CO Day would probably be one of the recipients of that. So can we gift CO Day a sub? Help to unlock the phase 2 of the bonus content. Amy J. Eves reminds us of what matters. She says, tribalism, the politics of envy, this is destroying our country. Amen. Amen. And DEI rewarded conflict. It rewarded activism over over talent. DEI, it made companies paranoid about lawsuits, terrified of being honest. It turned HR departments into great inquisitions. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. DEI produced bland, watered down, box-checking content that the audiences rejected, and it strangled creativity, and it led to shareholder losses. And the results are now visible in the numbers. A Bloomberg analyst this year tracked corporate performance and showed that companies with aggressive DEI mandates had weaker stock performance than companies that prioritize traditional hiring and creative autonomy. Of course, there are exceptions, but the trend is real, and executives are not blind to it. If you want another fact, here's no one in the DEI industry, and it is an industry, and they make tons of money every year by lecturing us. The people in that industry don't want you to know this. Corporate spending on DEI peaked back in 2021 at $13 billion. Today, it has fallen under $6 billion. That is a drop of more than 50% in 3 years. This is massive. This is the winning that we're told we're supposed to get tired of, but I'm not tired of. I'm not tired of winning. This is a huge shift. And this is an ideological retreat. And you can pat yourselves on the backs. If you're a Wake Up America show viewer, listener, regular OG, you've probably been part of the spearhead fighting back against this nonsense. And good for you. And thank you for doing what you do in your communities. And I'm really grateful for people like L Dubs and Amy J. Easley and Nelson 65 and Luke Sacker and so many others, but BB for Liberty, who helped make this fight work. We're winning. Now, here's where we need to bring this back, though, into the philosophical spine. You know, I like to get all philosophical about stuff, but DEI is a form of regulation. Okay. It's not government regulation per se. It can be when it's connected to civil rights laws. It's like, for example, the redistricting fight where California just redistricted, gave the Democrats 5 more seats. But when Texas does it, the Civil Rights Act steps in and federal judges step in and they block it because you can't have redistricting in Texas because when Republicans do it, it's racist. When the leftists do it, then it's fine. Did you guys know that the Constitution was written so that the left has to, if the left doesn't win, then it's unconstitutional? The left is supposed to win every time. When the Republicans win, when the right wins, then it's whatever it is unconstitutional. Right? But DEI is a illegal discrimination. Exactly, Dad Bod Baboon. That's exactly correct. It's not government regulation per se, although it can be, right? But it is corporate regulation and it serves the same function. It tells you what you can say. It tells you how you must behave. It tells you what ideas are allowed. It tells you what stories you can tell. And it tells you what viewpoints are safe. It is a substitute for law. It is a shadow legal system enforced through HR departments rather than courtrooms. I'm really excited to announce that I have a special guest for you a week from today. We're going to have Georgetown law professor Randy Barnett on the show. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, you should be. Brilliant legal scholar. He writes a blog, lawliberty.org. And his name was one of the names that when I ran for president in 2016 as a libertarian, people will ask you, who would you appoint to the Supreme Court? And my top pick was Professor Randy Barnett. So we've never had a public conversation on the record. So I'm looking forward to having him coming up this Wednesday on the show. And he has a new book that's coming out. And he talks about the corporate regulations and corporate tyranny, because he talks about how tyranny can sometimes be something that's not necessarily enforced through the government, but can be done by corporations. And he talks about this theory of the second best that libertarians really are missing out on. So we're going to have a really fantastic discussion. It's going to be 1 week from today, 8:30 a.m. Central Time on the Wake Up America show. If you're already a fan of Randy Barnett, you better set an appointment on your calendar to make sure that you do not miss this show. 1 week from today at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, we will have Professor Randy Barnett on the Wake Up America show for our very first public conversation discussion ever. So you don't need a government censor if your company will censor you for free. You don't need a speech code in the Constitution if your employer forces one on you at orientation. This is why corporate DEI is fundamentally incompatible with liberty. It's not about kindness. It's not about inclusion. It's not even really about diversity. It's about ideological conformity, and it's about power. It's about shaping the culture by force and saying that they're doing it by being compassionate. Now, Disney dropping DEI is important because it is a shift in power. It is a shift in power, and we are winning the fight. It signals that the cultural momentum is moving away from ideological conformity, and it's a beautiful thing, right? And now it could. Let me be clear, though. Important caveat: we shouldn't trust this change, not yet. Right, this could be cosmetic. This could be marketing. This could come back when the next Democratic president gets elected. Right, this could be the corporate version of a politician saying, "I've evolved." Right, we should stay skeptical. We will watch it closely. If Disney keeps making content that treats its audience with contempt, then nothing has changed. But if Disney starts telling real stories again, stories with timeless themes, so tale as old as time, right? Stories that honor myth and heroism and human nature, then you will know that the shift is real. But until then, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep pressing. We're going to keep organizing. We're going to keep speaking truth on the For Liberty Network and the Wake Up America show. We're going to, as parents, we're going to use our power. We're going to push back. We're going to vote with our wallets. And we're going to force these corporations to realize that their ideology, the leftist ideology, the woke ideology, does not sell. Freedom sells, excellence sells, truth sells, and that's why today matters. We're going to go into the heart of the fight for transparency this morning with Kurt Schlichter at 8:30 a.m. Central Time today. The House passed the Epstein Files by a vote of 427-1, and we're going to talk about the one man who voted no and why his reasoning matters more than the Twitter mobs want to admit. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wake Up America show. Go to the Grift Shop at thegriftshop.com. Guys, get that Christmas shopping done in early. Get those orders in for the special lady in your life. We the People earrings. Buy 2, save 15. Look it up. We'll be right back. It's the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network.
Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that, will pay $500K to settle. Lawsuit over deputy shooting blind and deaf dog. The Animal Legal Defense Fund says it's one of the largest settlements for the police killing of a dog. A small Missouri town will pay $500,000 to settle a lawsuit filed by a man whose 13-pound blind and deaf Shih Tzu dog was shot and killed by a police officer. It is one of the largest settlements of its kind, an animal rights group says. Nicholas Hunter filed a lawsuit last year against the city of Sturgeon, Missouri, and former Sturgeon police officer Myron Woodson, alleging his Fourth Amendment rights were violated when Woodson killed his dog Teddy, shortly after finding it wandering in a neighbor's yard on May 19, 2024. The Animal Legal Defense Fund, ALDF, an animal rights advocacy group, provided a grant to help cover costs for the lawsuit and announced the settlement last Friday in a press release. Mr. Hunter is relieved this matter is concluded, but nothing can ever bring his Teddy back. Hunter's attorneys Daniel J. Coldy and Eric C. Crinian said in the release. Teddy was a good dog who did not deserve this. We hope that other departments will learn from this and train their officers better in the future, so events like this don't happen again. We also are grateful to the ALDF for their support and efforts to bring light to tragedies like Teddy and encourage better training and more responsible police behavior towards beloved family pets. Teddy's shooting was a particularly egregious example of a common phenomena. police needlessly shooting family dogs. There have been so many cases over the years that we have a puppy side tag for stories on the Reason website. No one knows exactly how many dogs police shoot around the country, but every year there are more cases of wanton killings that, besides terrorizing owners, generate huge lawsuits, viral outrage, and sometimes result in officers being fired or facing trial, such as in the case of a New Orleans officer who shot and killed a puppy. The trouble in Sturgeon started on May 19, 2024, when Teddy escaped from Hunter's backyard while Hunter was out at dinner. Hunter's neighbor called a county dispatch center to report that the dog had wandered into their yard. According to Hunter's lawsuit, the caller responded, "No, not at all," when asked if the dog was aggressive. The town of Sturgeon's official Facebook page posted an alert on May 19th about the missing dog, along with photos of Teddy. "Do you know this doggy? Joint Communications has been notified. The doggy seems in need of medical attention." Hunter had been called about the Facebook post and was on his way to pick up Teddy. Instead, Woodson beat him to the scene, and a few minutes later, the officer shot the dog twice, killing it. The city of Sturgeon posted on Facebook about the incident the next day, defending Woodson's decision. Based on the behavior exhibited by the dog, believing the dog to be severely injured or infected with rabies, and as the officer feared being bitten and being infected with rabies, the SPD Sturgeon Police Department officer felt that his only option was to put the animal down, the city wrote. It was later learned that the animal's behavior was because the animal was blind. Unfortunately, the animal's lack of a collar or tags influenced the SPD officer's decision to put the animal down due to his belief that the animal was injured, sick, and abandoned. But when the local news outlet ABC 17 obtained Woodson's body camera footage, it showed that Teddy was never aggressive and didn't bark or growl. Woodson tried to lasso Teddy with a catch pole, a common tool used in animal control, but the dog simply shook its head free of the rope and trotted away. After fumbling the catch pole several times, Woodson drew his gun and killed Teddy. ABC 17 reported that Woodson's entire encounter with Teddy, from exiting his car to putting 2 bullets in the animal, lasted 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Yet after body camera footage was released, Sturgeon doubled down. The city believes that the officer acted within his authority based on the information available to him at the time to protect against possible injury to citizens from what appeared to be an injured, sick, and abandoned dog, Sturgeon posted in a follow-up Facebook post. Hunter filed a federal lawsuit within a week of the shooting. In a deposition, Woodson testified that he destroyed the animal because "I believe the dog was seriously injured and suffering." Sturgeon city officials suspended Woodson and promised to conduct an investigation, but according to Hunter's lawsuit, that investigation never occurred. The city allegedly instead paid Woodson a $16,000 settlement regarding his suspension. Woodson no longer works for the SPD and is apparently a process server. ABC 17 reported last week that Woodson was charged with trespassing for allegedly refusing police officers' orders to leave a retirement home where he was attempting to serve papers. Chris Greene, executive director of the ALDF, said in a statement that the settlement is one of the largest of its kind for the police shooting of a beloved family dog. The typical size of these settlements has grown substantially since a court ruling in the early 2000s established that the Fourth Amendment protects pets from unreasonable seizures, that is, killings. In 2018, a Maryland jury awarded $1.26 million to a family whose dog was shot and killed by police. As Reason reported that year, these settlements and the intense public backlash has caught police departments' attention. They've started to incorporate training for officers to recognize dog behaviors and respond with non-lethal methods first. It's a step that animal rights groups say is long overdue. These horrendous tragedies are completely unnecessary and preventable with simple, adequate training, Greene continued. I hope this $500,000 amount sends a message to other police departments that if your officers needlessly harm an animal, you will pay. Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion in debt. But that's not all, George. We have drag queen story hour for toddlers. Pronouns are mandatory. And Harvard can't define woman. Oh. And we send billions to Ukraine but can't fix potholes in Ohio. You know, just normal modern empire stuff. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with it. Right after he finishes reloading. He didn't cross the Delaware for this nonsense, but you can carry on the fight with gear that would have made King George cry. Shop bold, shop free, shop for libertyshop.com.
Congressman, will Republicans move to censure Rep. Plaskett after finding out she was texting with a convicted child sex offender?
It's a state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer.
Congressman, will Republicans will Republicans move to censure Rep. Plaskett after finding out she was texting with a convicted child sex offender?
I don't know. That's sort of, to me, that's just a distraction at this point.
What about Bill and Hillary Clinton? They're now refusing to show up before the House oversight regarding their depositions with Jeffrey Epstein. What's going to happen with them? Is there going to be a criminal referral?
That's up to the Oversight Committee and the Speaker of the House. I mean, everybody in this country has the right to plead the Fifth Amendment. If that's what they're doing, that's fine. But if they're refusing to show up at all, that's not legal.
Bannon and Navarro were in prison for doing the same thing. Should they be as well?
That's outside of my purview. The Oversight Committee has been doing their own investigation, and we have introduced legislation because they have yet to produce a single name or any justice for these survivors. Thank you,
Congressman. Congressman, will Republicans...
Something don't sit right with me. Something don't sit right at all. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're settling. This next story is where the mask slips. On November 18th, the Epstein Files Transparency Act passed the U.S. House of Representatives by a vote of 427-1. 427 members of Congress, Democrats, Republicans, neocons, libertarians, Freedom Caucus guys, progressives, all voting yes. And one man voted no. And that man was Clay Higgins. He was a Republican from Louisiana. They call him the Cajun John Wayne of Congress. Former law enforcement, viral crime video fame, now a firebrand member of the hard right wing and part of the House Freedom Caucus. A lonely man stands alone. But why? Why would anybody vote no on releasing the files related to Jeffrey Epstein and the most powerful secretive networks in America? Former presidents, Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking and his weird midget fetish that he had. We don't say midget anymore, do we? Yeah, we do. Dwarf. We don't say dwarf anymore, do we? Little people? What can I say? Just tell me what I can say. Click the like button if you haven't already and follow as well. We're going to follow the story of one representative named Clay Higgins who voted against transparency on one of the most notorious sex trafficking rings in modern American history. Why would anyone want to shield names? And I think that it's interesting. Let's hear from the man who stood alone. Here's his direct quote that he posted on X in the statement that he linked. Camelia's already very suspicious of it. And here's what he said. I've been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. As written, this bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. Not by my vote. Okay, well, interesting. Now, he wasn't the only one who expressed concerns like this. People are already suspicious about what might come out of the Senate compromise. But the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, echoed some similar concerns.
Any reaction to Leader Thune seeing the bill without adding amendments or changing it?
I am I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think, I'm told, I've been at the state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer rushed it to the floor and put it out there preemptively. It needed amendments. I just spoke to the president about that. We'll see what happens.
So do you think he may veto it? You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it, so we'll see. I was standing there with the Crown Prince. We couldn't call.
Are you frustrated in the majority leader? Are you upset with the majority?
Interesting. So Clay Higgins added the Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation that has already released well over 60,000 pages from the Epstein case. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due process protections for innocent Americans. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for that bill when it comes back to the House. So pause for a second. So everybody was accusing this guy of being a pedo protector. Everybody was accusing this guy of having nefarious reasons. Camellia seems to think that he's ignorant in the chat. I really don't know. It's impossible for us to be able to tell what's going on in someone's mind, but it's worthwhile to consider it because he took the time to vote no, be the lone no vote. And boy, don't we liberty lovers, we love to praise the one no vote on the House of Representatives until it's our guy passing a bill with a supermajority. And now I think a lot of things are going to rest on what happens next. And if we see a witch hunt and we see lynchings and we see lynch mobs online coming after people who may be guilty, may be innocent, but should be presumed innocent until found guilty. And if no criminal prosecutions come out of this and we learn nothing that we didn't already know, then a lot of assholes are going to have egg on their faces. And I think there should be hell to pay. Because let me tell you, everybody has ulterior motives. Let me tell you what my ulterior motive in this one. I've been demanding transparency in the Epstein Files since the beginning. I've been covering this story for years. I absolutely do believe that we deserve transparency on what happened on Jeffrey Epstein's island. And it should be done so in accordance with proper legal procedures so that we can protect the innocent people who should not be named if there is not a credible case that could be brought against them. If they can't be prosecuted for it, should they deserve to be prosecuted in the court of public opinion? Maybe yes, maybe no, because sometimes there are people who are guilty that don't go punished. O.J. Simpson is a perfect case. But are we not supposed to err on the side of justice? Are we not supposed to, via Blackstone's formulation, that you would rather one guilty man go free than 100 guilty men go free than one innocent man should be placed in prison or jail or be punished? I wonder if everybody has thought about that. Well, we have out our torches and our pitchforks, right? Is it a good idea? Or maybe we should be like Mark Twain, my fellow Missourian, who said that if you ever find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to reform. And here's a man who's not on the side of the majority and who refuses to go along and get along. And let's hear what they have to say. This is not the argument of a man trying to protect Epstein's friends. This is the argument of a man who is worried, I think rightfully so, against a fickle public who are conspiratarded and who who will sign petitions to ban dihydrogen monoxide. And these are the people who are demanding transparency the most. The chemtrailers, the kooks, the quacks, the loonies. So it's possible to want transparency. It's possible to ask questions and do so rightfully and to demand transparency in government while also recognizing that JFK was shot by Oliver Stone from the third floor book depository. Oh, no, wait. It was Lee Harvey Oswald. No, it was the one-armed man. So think about it. So these files include interview transcripts, notes from investigators, tips that went nowhere, leads that were debunked, witness statements, false accusations, rumors that never panned out. People whose only involvement was being near Epstein in a social setting that they did not control. Employees who never knew what he was doing. Pilots, housekeepers, drivers, right? Their only crime was proximity, right? And they're going to have their reputations destroyed. They're going to have their lives brought out in public by people who think that dihydrogen monoxide is being put in the water, it's being put in everything, and we're all being poisoned by the dihydrogen monoxide. It falls from the skies. I die under a chemical sky. Hold up. Wait a minute. Right? Think about it, guys. Who are these people that we're about to learn their names for the first time? Are many of them innocent people? Surely. Many of them must be. Are they going to have their reputations, their lives possibly destroyed by pedo hunters with an 80 IQ who think that they're doing justice in vigilantism, and they're going to post TikToks of them approaching these people in the street, punching them in the face, despite the fact that that person has not been convicted or even credibly accused in a criminal court of law, that their inquiry has not even happened? No, it's going to be on our side to do justice. The vigilantism is what we need to be cautious about before we convict someone in the court of public opinion. Let's sit back and ask ourselves, what would Jesus do? Think about it. So Higgins said that he would support the bill if the Senate added protections for people named but not criminally implicated. And the Senate is going to take that up. And here's where it gets interesting. So this is the moment that exposes the entire political class. Every other Republican voted yes. They voted yes after Donald Trump reversed his position and said Republicans should vote to release the files because we have nothing to hide. They voted yes because the public demanded it. They voted yes because refusing would be career suicide. And Clay Higgins did not. He stood alone. He doesn't give it. He became the most unpopular man in America for 24 hours, but he stood up on a principle. Now, whether you argue or whether you agree that that principle is a principle or not, it matters. Right? You don't see courage like that anymore. Usually you see calculation, like what happened with the people who were against it, and then Trump was for it, now they're for it. That's positioning. People are branding themselves on the Epstein Files. Millions of dollars have been made covering this story. But one man in a chamber full of cowards saying, I know this will cost me, but I will not do it this way. It's at least something we should examine. Now, zoom out. What does this bill actually do? It orders the release of all unclassified records related to Jeffrey Epstein and his associate Ghislaine Maxwell, communications, flight logs, visitor lists, corporate and government entities connected to him, investigative materials. The only exceptions are document sections that must be redacted to protect victim identity, ongoing criminal investigations, or national security secrets. This is good, very good. Sunlight is necessary. Epstein was protected by the political class for decades. He got sweetheart deals. He had ties in academia, intelligence agencies, finance, media, entertainment, government, Victoria's Secret, you name it. You don't hit this level of wrongdoing without help. Somebody protected him. Somebody opened doors for him. Somebody shut cell doors at exactly the right time. So yes, release the files, expose the networks, publish the truths that the elites never wanted you to see. But here's the lesson that we should take from Higgins' dissent. Right? Transparency must never be used as a weapon against the innocent. The court protects the guilty. The public, we should protect the innocent. The government protects neither. So the burden falls upon us to know the difference. And that is why I appreciate Higgins' stance. Even if I don't agree with it, he's looking at the fine print while everybody else is chasing headlines. He's talking about legal process in an era when process is treated obstruction. He's trying to protect the innocent while exposing the guilty, and that is harder than it looks. And listen to Austin Peterson when he tells you right now that it would be far more popular if Austin only chased the conspiratard vote, that Austin would have a much bigger podcast with, instead of 115, there would be 1,115 people watching this show right now. If I only ever told my audience what I know that they wanted to hear, what I know would tickle their amygdalas, I know exactly what I need to do to bullshit you to turn this into a huge podcast. I know how to get to the charts, to the top of the charts of iTunes. I've been there. I know how to climb back up from where I'm at right now to get there. And it involves a whole lot of lies, a whole lot of bullshit, a whole lot of fake drama, and a whole lot of me telling you things that I know that you want to hear, even if I know that it's not the truth. I could do that right now. I've been in corporate press. I've seen how people have operated, and I know how it's done, but I'm not going to do it. You know why? Because there is this thing called character, and it is much easier kept than it is recovered. Because once you've lost it, you might have 1 million people watching you, but they're watching the circus. They're not watching the train. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson, and I will not bullshit you. I will tell you the truth 5 days a week, 7 days. If you want to watch us on the weekends, we've got lots of replays because you should be watching all 10 hours live. But if you can't, then you should watch us on Saturdays and Sundays too. There's a lot of influencer bullshitters out there, and you can count on AP for Liberty to tell you the truth over here, no matter how bad it hurts, to examine the painful truths and realities. It's like if you are the type of person who can watch the sacrifice of sacred cows and not blanch, not turn away, if you can look with full eyes into reality, if you can step out of Plato's cave and see the sun for the first time, the real true sun, and blink for a moment, but then look at the real world with your real eyes, then you are no longer a prisoner in Plato's cave. You are a free man and free woman because you can think for yourself. Now, Rare Camellia in with some leavening. She says, I don't expect bombshells because we do not think those things, don't we think those things would already been burned? Sure. It's the people. So the people who are going to get destroyed in the court of public opinion, this is just my guess. The people that are going to be destroyed by this release are not going to be the elites. It's not going to be the people. If any of those people were implicated, right, or could have criminal proceedings brought against them, it's not going to come out in public. What you're going to get is you're going to get drivers, people who drove a limo from the airport to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell around. So they're going to assume that these people who are powerless, because if they had any power, their names wouldn't come out. Right? That's if you're really black-pilled, then you have to understand that if the elites are as all powerful as the chemtrailers want us to believe, do you think that they're not powerful enough to do something like that? Who do you think is going to take the fall? Who do you think that they're going to push out there in the public, right? You should be skeptical and, yes, even sometimes like Camellia, a little cynical. Yeah. So let's not forget that this is primarily about forcing the elite to do what they gave lip service to. Sure. And let's not forget, too, that Trump campaigned on this. And now we're going to see it happen. So hopefully it is it's such a strange feeling because I was trying to formulate my thoughts on this. Think about this. I support Thomas Massie. I want him to succeed. And I'm glad, and I've been pushing for these Epstein transparency for quite some time, but he staked his professional career on this, his reputation, his alliance with Trump and with MAGA. He's burned all of those bridges for this. So on some level, I'm like, well, I hope it is what you think it is to some extent, but I also don't, because doesn't morality require us to not want there to be more people who are committing these evil acts? So I don't want him to succeed, because if it's the worst of most awful of allegations, do we want people, our elites in our society, to have committed these crimes, or shouldn't we, if we're moral, want it not to have happened? Like, wouldn't the best case scenario be that they drop these files and that there are no people implicated, that it really is a nothing burger? Isn't that the best case scenario? And let me tell you, here was my ulterior motive the whole time with the pushing of the Epstein files, before we get Kurt Schlichter on and why he's going to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie are pieces of crap, to the audience of people who are Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene fans. I'm bringing him on here to tell us this to our face. My ulterior motive the whole time is that I knew that the conspirators loved this story. I knew that it was a huge story, and that I knew that at the end of the day, they were going to be disappointed. Even if it is everything they say it is, they're going to say that it's not enough, or that there's something else that's being hidden, or that not everything has been released. They never, ever give up. It's just like with the Kennedy assassination. Every time somebody comes out and does a ballistic test on why JFK's head went back and to the left, even though he was shot from behind in the third floor, even all the studies, all the research, all the legal history and knowledge on Oswald and why he hated Kennedy and wanted to kill him and was jealous of his family and a communist piece of shit who tried to murder a general in Dallas just weeks before he shot John F. Kennedy. It doesn't matter. It's always evidence of the conspiracy. So in part, my ulterior motive for this was that it was the ultimate conspiracy, and that we should, give the conspirators everything that they have been asking for. Give them every inch of transparency, because at the end of the day, it will not be enough. They will say it was not enough for them. I've got Kurt Schlichter coming up here in like less than 5 minutes. I got to run. Don't go away. This is going to get juicy. This is going to get hot. I promise what you're going to get here, what you're going to hear coming up next, it's going to make you really angry. But the truth will set you free. But first, it will piss you off. We'll be right back. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion in debt. But that's not all, George. We have drag queen story hour for toddlers. Pronouns are mandatory. And Harvard can't define woman. Oh. And we send billions to Ukraine but can't fix potholes in Ohio. You know, just normal modern empire stuff. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with it. Right after he finishes reloading. He didn't cross the Delaware for this nonsense, but you can carry on the fight with gear that would have made King George cry. Shop bold, shop free, shop4libertyshop.com.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as...
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.
Oh my God. All right, guys, time for some fireworks. The Republican Civil War heated up this week when Kurt Schlichter unleashed one of the most brutal columns of the year. He went right after Marjorie Traitor Greene and Thomas Massie. He calls them backstabbers, he calls them narcissists, and some, I assume, are good people. He's here to talk to us right now. Zero apologies, zero filters, in classic Kurt style. They call him a mediator in German, but he's definitely picking sides today. Good morning, Kurt. Welcome to the show, and glad to have you here, sir. Let us have it.
Well, as they say in German, which I learned through Def Leppard, Guten Glieden Glauten Globen. So we'll throw that out there. I think there was a time when the medical profession wasn't politically correct, and things like moron and imbecile were actually medical terms. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is kind of a Renaissance fool because she's both a moron and an imbecile all at once. She is just so unbelievably dumb and disingenuous. She wasn't called a traitor because she stood with these women. She was a traitor because she went on The View and trashed the movement that gave her what marginal relevance this backbench loser ever had. She's a nobody. She's a fool. She thought, I'm a genius. I can win the Senate seat in Georgia. And Donald Trump said, no, you can't. And I'm not going to empower you to throw that away. And she got mad. So this is her acting out. As for Thomas Massie, I got to say, I like his new haircut. Looking good, Thomas. Went down, hit the supercuts. I mean, you're still an idiot. You're still useless. I don't know if he's actually libertarian. I think he's just annoying. Again, a tiresome crank backbencher who suddenly, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, became relevant because we only have a 3-seat majority. Now, you can't count on Thomas Massie when you need him.
Now, you're talking to an audience of mostly Thomas Massie fans, Kurt, and I bring you on here because and
I'm not one.
Now, I get it, but that's, you know what? I'm the rare libertarian that listens to people that disagree with me instead of staying in an echo chamber. I want to hear why people think that I'm a moron, okay? And let's have a conversation about it, because I think that there's two opposing forces here. There's one that transparency is a good thing. Donald Trump ran for office, campaigned on transparency for the Epstein Files. Then it felt like he changed his mind once he got into office. So you could understand why people would be curious about the flip. I don't know if making it your signature issue is a good idea, right? That might be Trey's annoying. I'd prefer him to maybe focus on something that would benefit most Americans instead of a small army of conspiracy influencers online, Kurt. But I would like to know how you felt about the fact that as soon as Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and our guys got in, that they all flipped on this. It was odd.
Well, look, I've been a trial lawyer for 30 years, so I'm kind of like stuck dealing with facts and evidence.
Sure.
And I've done many fraud cases. When you talk about the Epstein Files, do you think there's a notarized videotape where Epstein says, hi, I committed the following crimes along with the following people. Here's a list. Do you think for 1 second, does anyone actually think that if there was an iota of evidence against Donald Trump in those files, they not only would have been leaked, but they would have been leaked to the front page of the New York Times approximately 15 minutes after that useless elderly eggplant, who was formerly our president, took over the Department of Justice? In what universe are the giant secrets out there? You know, Agent Mulder? I don't believe in conspiracy theories because I worked for the government for a long time as a soldier, and I know most people in government are too damn stupid to have a conspiracy. I also know that, simply by the process of elimination, if there was any chance that Donald Trump, because they don't care about anyone. They don't care about Lawrence Summers trying to score with some rando. They don't care about Reid Hoffman. Nobody cares about Bill Clinton, banging stewardesses 2 at a time in Bob Crane's hot tub. They don't care. All it is can we get Trump? And you've got that scumbag Chris Murphy out there going, Trump's at the center of a child sex ring. And morons, nodding their heads along. So there's nothing on Trump.
So obviously, I agree with you.
And there never was.
So then why, if there wasn't, then why not just do what they said they were going to do and drop the list or files? Why?
And the answer is the most obvious thing in the world. When the police go out there and investigate things, right? They write down everything. Hearsay, lies, mistakes. So you've got Joe Smith out there, who somebody else said, well, I think Joe Smith may have hung out with Epstein. I don't know. And you got the cop writes it as he should. So that's your investigative file, not real evidence, but just base allegations, which are absolutely going to be used to screw over innocent people. Now, I think we're at the point where, sure, go ahead, release it. I want Stacy Pluskat to be even more embarrassed than, her normal moronic behavior embarrasses her. That's fine. But the reason you don't normally put these things out is because it's all allegations. It's not proof. And we don't do that. If you're a libertarian, when did you stop wanting to protect the rights of innocent people not to be slandered with the imprint of government and allow political opponents to make hay of it? I mean, that seems like a pretty libertarian position to me. Hey, if the government's going to put its stamp on somebody, I don't think it's too much to expect the government to go in and prove with admissible evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to a bunch of citizens that this person did something. But, apparently I'm wrong, because this is one of those special Trump exceptions that we hear so much about. The Trump exception to the attorney-client privilege, the Trump exception to free speech, the Trump exception to being able to participate in the political process, the Trump exception to be able to exercise the powers of the office to which you were elected. Everything's an exception to the rule, which means there are no rules. So I guess in a way, the libertarians are getting their wish.
Yeah, I tried to plot out a return to good graces for Thomas Massie the other day. It doesn't seem like they're interested because, the main criticism of him was that he never passed a bill. Well, now he's passed a bill, but if it ends up being what you say it is, just conjecture and assertion, if it ends up being a big nothing burger, then he will have put all of his political capital on the line, and he would have gotten rid of all of his former MAGA friends. Remember, Trump endorsed him at one point, said good things about him against his Democratic opponent. Now they're trying to primary him, and I said, hey, listen, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's going into Groyper and to conspiratard land. And I said, Massie should not trade MAGA for conspiratards and groypers, who many of them don't even like libertarians, so they're fickle friends of his. And I said that Massie should share credit with the president, say thank you, go into the Oval Office, say, listen, I'm sorry, booby baby, but let's work together and do this the right way. Instead, he invites primary challenges. Now here's the thing. The Republican Party right now, we're having a conversation. And one name that keeps getting mentioned is Bill Buckley. We all remember Buckley from back in the day and there's a lot of hatred being thrown at Buckley because he was willing to purge the Republican Party. And that's why a lot of people resent Buckley, because he stood up to the conspiratards of his day and said, no, that is too far. Now, in your piece, you argue that our movement also needs a purge, perhaps not in the same way that Buckley did, or maybe the same fashion that people like Tucker Carlson and others are demonizing Buckley for, but you say that we need a purge. What would that look like?
Well, look, the Buckley purges were purely ideological in the sense that, you're very, very right wing as opposed to not so right wing. The John Birchers who were kind of conspiratorial. We're talking about people who aren't really Republicans at all. I mean, is Massie a Republican? I guess sometimes he votes the president's way. He votes occasionally, at least, for the speaker. All right, that's something. But when we need him, he's not there. Look at the guys in Indiana who won't redistrict. We got this big we have a big problem in red states. I'm from a blue state, right? I'm from California most of the time. I'm in Texas right now, so I'm feeling great and exercising my right to keep and bear arms all the time. But you get these red states, and the whole government is Republican, so everyone who wants to be in politics becomes a quote-unquote Republican, including people who should be Democrats. So you get a lot of softness. You've seen it in Ohio, you've seen it in Indiana, you see it in Utah, you saw it in Texas. Texas is still getting rid of some of these guys. There's a difference between having a big tent and having a big tent where you're like, oh, well, here's a place for Democrats. Okay, if you're a Democrat, you shouldn't be in our group. You're just going to screw with us and take a space that should go for somebody who's not a Democrat. I don't think that's too much. And I did use the word purge. I'm not using it in the same sense as we've got to go through everybody and make sure their views are exactly perfect. I'm not asking that your views be perfect. There are many people, for instance, I am the, let's freak out the Massie guys. I not only think that we should be helping Israel, I don't think we help Israel enough. I think we should help it more. And of course, I speak as somebody who's already been deployed 2 times overseas, so it's not like I'm asking anybody to do anything I didn't do.
I would
there
love...
are people who are like, Kurt, not a great idea. Better ways to handle Israel. Fine, as long as you're not getting like, Marjorie Taylor Greene and blaming it all on the Jews. I can see that, and I don't think we have to purge those people, right? Just because they disagree with me.
So it's interesting, Kurt. I could go down a big rabbit hole with you on the Israel stuff that's going on right now and in that conversation, but I'd like to save that for another day just because I want to really focus in on this, the Epstein question here. So picture the GOP a year from now. If your warnings are ignored, per se, we continue on like we are right now, what does the right look like for the midterms? What is the situation that we are faced with next year if things don't change?
I am not worried about our internal coalition issues. Look, this is a brand new coalition. Okay? I'm on the same side as in the same coalition as people who like RFK, which is like very weird, but we have enough in common where, we're building the new coalition. It's the first new coalition since probably the New Deal, right? We're having growing pains. That's normal. We're going to fight it out, and we're going to have these things. I don't think people outside of our of active politics really care that much. I think they're annoyed when you get like little rodents like Nick Fuentes, coming at. Nobody likes him except for a few incel losers. But normal people don't really care about our stuff. What normal people care about is the economy. Are we losing a war? Am I going to not be able to get a job because my grandfather came from Stuttgart instead of Timbuktu? I think people are very, are we keeping the border shut? Are we getting rid of the people murdering us who shouldn't be here from other countries? These are the things that normal people care about. And these are the things that Donald Trump's actually making progress on. We have almost a year. That's good. If we had an election now, we'd get creamed because we're not focused. We're not organized. I think we will be focused. I think we will be organized. I think we will start to see the conservative economics of Donald Trump paying off. The tariff thing is a wild card. We will see how that goes. It has not been as bad as people said. It has not been as good as he said.
Well, yeah, true. Fox News is telling us that, maybe don't buy slippers for grandma, which is not really a great message. I don't know that it's a good idea for them to sort of say that everything's great in the economy when if you don't have a lot of paper investments, Kurt, then a lot of people really are struggling right now.
No, that's true. And that is frankly, that's one of the things that I'm very grateful for Charlie Kirk to turn me on to. Look, I'm a 60-year-old Los Angeles trial lawyer. Okay? I'm ready to retire if I wanted to. I'm very different from a guy who's 23, maybe coming out of high school, coming out of college, and meeting a world that I did not meet. My world was limitless in California in the 80s and 90s. It never occurred to me, Austin, that I could not be and do whatever I wanted. And I have. I mean, I've been an Army colonel. I've been a law partner. I've been a best-selling author. And by the way, Kelly Turnbull #9, Panama Red. You can pre-order it on Amazon. Panama Red, get it. It is fun. I like giving value, in mutually consenting transactions. But look, young people are facing things that I never faced. I wrote about it in Town Hall today on the romantic tip. You saw Bill Ackerman trying to help the young guys out with, may I meet you?
Yes.
And I'm like, I think that plan might work for a billionaire. I don't know about a young guy.
Yeah,
Look,
I love all the videos of them with their swords, all the CEOs pulling out their swords and acting like twerps and trying to give us advice about how to meet women. But it is a different... It's a different environment for the young men out there today.
Yeah,
Kurt.
and that is something we definitely need to look at. That's something I wasn't cognizant, and I'm not 28. I'm not starting out. I'm finishing up. I'm about to pass the baton in a much shorter time than I am happy about. But and I think Donald Trump and his folks are aware of that. I think the Republicans are going to start focusing on that. They better. Democrats certainly don't care about that. If there's anything they hate, it's young men.
Yeah.
Especially young straight ones.
Kurt Schlichter, you're an author, you're a former Army colonel, you're a businessman, a lawyer, and you have thoroughly pissed off all my libertarian audience this morning. But you know what? Good. We need to hear it.
Blessings of liberty.
The blessings of liberty. That's right. And some free speech. So tell us where we can, for those people out there, because there were a lot of people clapping for you, like Amy J. East. Where can Amy grab a copy of your book right now?
Amy, you can go on to Amazon. It's Amazon Kindle. You can pre-order the ebook. It'll drop on the 9th of December. You'll be able to get paperbacks and hardcovers too. I was inspired by Andrew Breitbart to go out and make culture. He's the guy who brought me into this. I've been trying to do it, and the response has just been huge. Now, if we can get some of these zillionaires to stop writing checks to the Heritage Foundation and start making some conservative shows, maybe we can get Kelly Turnbull and the People's Republic books up on Netflix. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's call the guy who played Jesus, Jim Caviezel. He's got Angel Studios. They're doing a lot of great stuff over there, like Young Washington for the 250th anniversary. They're making a lot of great films. I don't know if you know those guys, but
there are a lot of guys out there, and the barriers to entry into making content have dropped. Which means money. Hell, they've dropped for me. I do traditional publishing, but I also do it using the Amazon system, and I sell hundreds of thousands of books.
That's amazing, Kurt. Congratulations. Listen, I've always had a ton of respect for you, brother, even if I don't disagree. And you know what? I'm the type of libertarian though that likes to hear from people that I disagree with. I don't like being in ideological bubbles, and I like to hear things. So that way I can ensure that I'm being logical and reasonable. Bingo. So please keep speaking truth, Kurt, even if it pisses me off and it pisses everybody off. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for being so generous with your time, brother. We appreciate you.
Anytime you want me, happy to show.
Thank you very much. That's Kurt Schlichter. Everybody give him a round of applause, even if you were mad at him and maybe you're mad at me for bringing him on. Isn't it a good idea sometimes to hear ideas that you haven't heard before? Maybe to hear things like, oh, maybe I agreed with that little part of Kurt Schlichter. You know what? Maybe it's time for us to start booking some leftists and getting them on the show. I'll beat them up a little bit. What do you say? You want to do it? Who's your favorite leftist? I'll have them on the show. We're only at what, $11 until we hit the second phase, the bonus content. Do you guys want to play Liberty Loot Live? Do you guys want to play a game show where we can all win prizes? Well, here's how it works. All we've got to do is raise another $11, and that will unlock the game show mode. And we've got enough time. We've got 10 minutes to make the Wake Up America show's game show turn on. Let's do it, guys. Hit it up. Somebody drop $11 in. But here's what I recommend, guys, that you do right now, especially if you felt like you were watching this show this morning. You're like, wow, this is really fun. I saw we picked up a new follower, Marie100, and she's already been gifted a subscription. What's up, Marie? Nobody solves a problem. How do you solve a problem like Maria? We'd love to have you, Maria, be a regular guest. Thanks for clicking the follow button on the show. I want to introduce you to the merch shop that we have. It's not just any merch shop. We work really hard to provide incredible, fun, patriotic, liberty-loving products to the American people, and just sometimes some things that are just fun and funny. Like our Now I Have a Machine Gun Ho 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 sweater. These sell like hotcakes. These are always great Christmas gifts. But if everybody's like, oh, everybody has a coffee. Everybody has a coffee. Yeah, but I have the best coffee. And when you put more than one box of coffee in your cart, guys, you are going to save money. You're going to save a lot of money the more you put in there. So why don't you buy 2 and save 3? Why don't you buy 3 and save 7, or buy 4 boxes and save $12 or more, depending on what you're buying, guys? We've got a whole coupon code going on right now that if you, let's say that you wanted to get the Baked AF Christmas sweater for your grandma there. Look, that's Mrs. Santa Claus. You can see she's having a good time there at Christmas baking cookies. Her eyes might be a little red. Baked AF sweater. But let's say you wanted to get that sweater and you wanted to throw that in your cart. Okay, I want the Irish green and I want it to be 2XL because maybe I'm a chubby buddy. And you throw that Irish green 2XL in there and you got it in your cart. And then you put you put in the code buy 2 get 15, and then you guys will save 15% when you buy more than one item. So use that code buy 2 get 15 and the savings will stack. Okay, or maybe you wanted the Javier Malaya Fuera sneakers. Did you guys see the news, by the way? I'm so freaking excited. So this is such a small thing, I know, to some of you guys, but it could be such a huge transformational thing. What I have been working on for months and months here to try and get the For Liberty Network to the next level. So I was contacted by a mysterious millionaire. Looks like we did it. Derek Mollier. Yes, we're going to play the Great Grift off Liberty Loot Live. Thanks, Derek. We appreciate you, brother. The Javier Malaya Fuera sneakers, guys, the ones that you're looking at on your screen right now, check this out. So these became a huge hit. They were an international sensation. I was selling them all over the world, but I couldn't sell them in Argentina because they just like the import restrictions. Well, because of Javier Malaya, that is starting to change. So here's the scenario. Here's what's going on. There is a chance that if Javier Malaya himself approves it, because we have to have his permission to sell them in there with his face, but if he approves it, if we can get his permission, we will bring the Javier Malaya Fuera sneakers by the truckload to Buenos Aires, Argentina, and sell them on Mercado Libre, my first major international trade deal, okay? This would be huge for us because the For Liberty Network would be blessed by the largesse of the money that would come in. We would accept their pesos, convert them to dollarinos. We make money. We sit there in our corporation building, we make money. Talk about growth spurts. The For Liberty Network will explode overnight. Here's what I need from you. It's activism. All hands on deck. It's an alert. Let's go, guys. I need you guys to tweet Javier Malaya. Tweet him the shoes. Tweet at him. Tag him over on X. I need all hands on deck to stand up and say, Javier Malaya, please, can you give AP for Liberty permission to bring the Javier Malaya Fuera sneakers to Buenos Aires? I need you to step up. And I need you guys to step up, and I need you to do a favor for all of us to grow the network. It's totally free. Just go over to X, tag me, and tag Javier Malaya. Maybe send a link to the shoes, the Javier Malaya Fuera sneakers. Grab the link over at the Grift Shop and say, we need to get these to Argentina. Let's do a trade deal between Argentina and the United States, and we make money. Let's do it. So go on over to X this morning, and let's play ourselves some Liberty Loot Live. What do you guys say? You want to play the game? Let's do it. It's the Great Grift Off, Liberty Loot Live. Which game shall we play today? Crowdhoney.app. All right, we're going over there. And everybody can play today, guys. Everybody can play. And we're going to play today. Let's see. Holiday party. Here we go. A holiday party, a party mix. Hold on. Back to icebreaker. Guess him. Today we will play this has been my favorite game lately, is the Turkey True or False game. And we can have up to 50 players and everybody can play. And it's the Great Grift Off Liberty Loot Live. Let's start the game. Here we go. You will win real prizes if you play the game today. Everyone who plays will win. One person will take home a nice gift from the Grift. Head over to crowdparty.app, enter in that code, and you will be entered to win prizes. Crowdparty.app. Go to it on your mobile phone or on a computer nearby. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to join the game. We can take up to 50 players. Everybody can play, and everybody's going to win something. Go to crowdparty.app. That's crowdparty.app. Let's play the game. Here we go. getting ready for a meeting, so I can't play, but I love that you do these. Thank you, Camellia. We're sorry that we can't have you play, but here's a little icebreaker. What would you do with your 15 minutes of fame? Hey, Luke Sacker, can't buy in until Turkey Day. Sorry. No worries, buddy. Listen, play the game. You don't have to. Everybody can play. It's open to absolutely everyone today, so you don't have to pay anything. You can play for free today. If you go to crowdparty.app, that's crowdparty.app, we're going to play Turkey True or False. When I hit the Squid Game button, you got 30 seconds to get your butts in here to win the game. So far, we got 7 out of 50 players, and we can take up to 50. If you want to play while we're live, go to crowdparty.app. That's crowdparty.app. See that little QR code? You can take a picture of that on your phone. What do you guys say? Join the game. I'm going to hit the Squid Game button. That gives you 30 seconds to get in here. You've got 30 seconds starting now to get into the game before we begin. We're going to play Turkey True or False Thanksgiving Edition. Everybody is welcome to play today. Anyone who wants to join can join. We've got 15 seconds for you to get inside this game. There's Luke. Turkey True or False Thanksgiving Edition. Everybody is welcome to play today. Absolutely everyone who can see or hear me. Go to crowdparty.app. We got 5 seconds. And here we go. Let's play. The first Thanksgiving parade was held in Chicago, not New York. Turkey True or False? It was Turkey True. Very nice. 6 people got it. Quest, Derelict, Q. The Detroit Lions have played every Thanksgiving since 1934. Turkey True or False? I want everyone to remember that everybody is going to win a prize. How do you collect your prize? You send us a text. After the game is over, everybody who played is going to get a prize from the gift shop. In order to collect your prize, including the grand prize winner, you'll have to send us a text message in order to collect your prize. And I will give you that phone number at the end of the game. We're on round 4. Wait for the green light, then tap as fast as you can. Hugh, Derelict, Luke Sacker, Bill and Cecilia. Round 4 of 12 coming up now. Round 5 of 12. Quest, Luke, and Bill fighting it out for first place. Native Americans call corn maize. Turkey True or False? Remember, the faster you answer the question. 8 out of 8, but who got it the fastest? Quest, Luke, and Bill still fighting first, second, and third. This can turn on a dime, let me tell you, though. Black Friday is named after the stock market crash of 1929. If you don't get this right, you are not a real libertarian. True or false? It was false. Good one, huh? Friendsgiving was coined by the TV show Friends. False or Turkey True? False. Why not saying Hugh's last name? Great question. Only Americans celebrate Thanksgiving. False or Turkey True? False. Wow. There we go. Leaderboard. Quest, Luke, and Bill. Remember, first place is going to win a prize from the gift shop. Second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place, they're all going to win a prize from the gift shop as well. But in order to collect the prize at the end of this game, after round 12, you've got to send us a text message to collect your prize. Rock, paper, scissors. Everybody knows how to play rock, paper, scissors. Which one is it going to be? You're playing against the machine. The robots are taking over. Luke Sacker, number 1, he coming out of nowhere. I can't believe we're so close to the $200 bonus content level where I would sing a Christmas carol, and it's $187 raised out of $200 because I don't want to have to sing a Christmas carol right now. So don't do it. Do it. Just get it up to $199, guys. Let's get the bonus content to $199, and then I don't have to sing a song. This is it. Round 12. The world's largest pumpkin pie weighed over 3,000 pounds. False or turkey true? Here we go. This is it. 3, 2, 1. Turkey true. Wow, that's a big pie. Let's see who won. Luke Sacker. Luke, you weren't even going to play. Good job, bud. Quest, Hugh, everybody. $192 raised towards the bonus content, but I'm afraid it's too late. We're not going to make it. So no Christmas Carol for you today, folks. But everybody who played the game wins the prize. Luke, you're going to win a prize as well. $25 gift certificate to the Grift Shop at 4libertyshop.com. That's it. That was fun. Time for a meeting. 573-319-1586 is the text line. Collect your prize. Luke, send us a text. Brad's going to send you your gift card. Everybody else gets gift cards to the shop. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you right back again here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Hark the herald ain't... Oh, wait. No.
Missouritown will pay $500K to settle. Lawsuit over deputy shooting blind and deaf dog. The Animal Legal Defense Fund says it's one of the largest settlements for the police killing of a dog. A small Missouri town will pay $500,000 to settle a lawsuit filed by a man whose 13-pound blind and deaf Shih Tzu dog was shot and killed by a police officer. It is one of the largest settlements of its kind, an animal rights group says. Nicholas Hunter filed a lawsuit last year against the city of Sturgeon, Missouri, and former Sturgeon police officer Myron Woodson, alleging his Fourth Amendment rights were violated when Woodson killed his dog Teddy, shortly after finding it wandering in a neighbor's yard on May 19, 2024. The Animal Legal Defense Fund, ALDF, an animal rights advocacy group, provided a grant to help cover costs for the lawsuit and announced the settlement last Friday in a press release. Mr. Hunter is relieved this matter is concluded, but nothing can ever bring his Teddy back. Hunter's attorneys Daniel J. Coldy and Eric C. Crinian said in the release, "Teddy was a good dog who did not deserve this. We hope that other departments will learn from this and train their officers better in the future, so events like this don't happen again. We also are grateful to the ALDF for their support and efforts to bring light to tragedies like Teddy and encourage better training and more responsible police behavior towards beloved family pets." Teddy's shooting was a particularly egregious example of a common phenomena: police needlessly shooting family dogs. There have been so many cases over the years that we have a puppy side tag for stories on the Reason website. No one knows exactly how many dogs police shoot around the country, but every year there are more cases of wanton killings that, besides terrorizing owners, generate huge lawsuits, viral outrage, and sometimes result in officers being fired or facing trial, such as in the case of a New Orleans officer who shot and killed a puppy. The trouble in Sturgeon started on May 19, 2024, when Teddy escaped from Hunter's backyard while Hunter was out at dinner. Hunter's neighbor called a county dispatch center to report that the dog had wandered into their yard. According to Hunter's lawsuit, the caller responded, "No, not at all," when asked if the dog was aggressive. The town of Sturgeon's official Facebook page posted an alert on May 19th about the missing dog, along with photos of Teddy. "Do you know this doggy? Joint Communications has been notified. The doggy seems in need of medical attention." Hunter had been called about the Facebook post and was on his way to pick up Teddy. Instead, Woodson beat him to the scene, and a few minutes later, the officer shot the dog twice, killing it. The city of Sturgeon posted on Facebook about the incident the next day, defending Woodson's decision. Based on the behavior exhibited by the dog, believing the dog to be severely injured or infected with rabies, and as the officer feared being bitten and being infected with rabies, the SPD Sturgeon Police Department officer felt that his only option was to put the animal down, the city wrote. It was later learned that the animal's behavior was because the animal was blind. Unfortunately, the animal's lack of a collar or tags influenced the SPD officer's decision to put the animal down due to his belief that the animal was injured, sick, and abandoned. But when the local news outlet ABC 17 obtained Woodson's body camera footage, it showed that Teddy was never aggressive and didn't bark or growl. Woodson tried to lasso Teddy with a catch pole, a common tool used in animal control, but the dog simply shook its head free of the rope and trotted away. After fumbling the catch pole several times, Woodson drew his gun and killed Teddy. ABC 17 reported that Woodson's entire encounter with Teddy, from exiting his car to putting 2 bullets in the animal, lasted 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Yet after body camera footage was released, Sturgeon doubled down. The city believes that the officer acted within his authority based on the information available to him at the time to protect against possible injury to citizens from what appeared to be an injured, sick, and abandoned dog, Sturgeon posted in a follow-up Facebook post. Hunter filed a federal lawsuit within a week of the shooting. In a deposition, Woodson testified that he destroyed the animal because "I believe the dog was seriously injured and suffering." Sturgeon city officials suspended Woodson and promised to conduct an investigation, but according to Hunter's lawsuit, that investigation never occurred. The city allegedly instead paid Woodson a $16,000 settlement regarding his suspension. Woodson no longer works for the SPD and is apparently a process server. ABC 17 reported last week that Woodson was charged with trespassing for allegedly refusing police officers' orders to leave a retirement home where he was attempting to serve papers. Chris Greene, executive director of the ALDF, said in a statement that the settlement is one of the largest of its kind for the police shooting of a beloved family dog. The typical size of these settlements has grown substantially since a court ruling in the early 2000s established that the Fourth Amendment protects pets from unreasonable seizures, that is, killings. In 2018, a Maryland jury awarded $1.26 million to a family whose dog was shot and killed by police. As Reason reported that year, these settlements and the intense public backlash has caught police departments' attention. They've started to incorporate training for officers to recognize dog behaviors and respond with non-lethal methods first. It's a step that animal rights groups say is long overdue. These horrendous tragedies are completely unnecessary and preventable with simple, adequate training, Greene continued. I hope this $500,000 amount sends a message to other police departments that if your officers needlessly harm an animal, you will pay.